Well, let's go watch something good. Or talk
Yes.
about something good. Die Hard.
Die Hard.
So there are certain online debates that are had just for the sake of having something to argue about. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Is a taco a sandwich? Which it depends on your definition of taco, or excuse me, it depends on your definition of sandwich. For my mind, it's not a sandwich if you have one single piece of carb to wrap it in.
Mm.
It's like a wrap would not be a sandwich, and neither would a open-faced sandwich.
Yes. Yeah.
But and it's like it's funny when you have these, or is cereal a soup? That type of thing.
I've never heard that one.
It's very stupid.
Yeah.
Because what you end up doing is you end up chasing each other in circles because neither of you can agree to a definition because they don't teach rhetoric or logic anymore.
Right.
One of those debates is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And I went into this one thinking it wasn't, and I still think it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. It is a movie that takes place during Christmas, but it is not itself a Christmas movie. It's not about the holiday.
As much as I am sitting here on IMDb, they're advertising the 5-disc collection where they try to sell it as a Christmas movie.
And only the first 2 movies take place at Christmas. The rest of them don't. Yeah.
So, and you might go like, well, what's your definition of that? Because again, like I say, you can just chase yourself in circles if you don't have a common definition. Our definition of a Christmas movie is something like a Charlie Brown Christmas, where the Christmas season is itself a key part of the theme, and you could not make the movie without that. So, just for example, Charlie Brown Christmas, it's a Christmas time movie. Charlie Brown is being the director of a Christmas play, and they get a wimpy Christmas tree, and they read from the Gospel of Luke, specifically about the birth of Christ. So it's like it is a Christmas movie, possibly the example of a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's also, if the movie actually has Santa Claus in it, it's usually a Christmas movie. You can't have a non-Christmas movie with Santa Claus like that DreamWorks Guardians movie.
Yeah.
And what I would say is that with Die Hard, if you just had a different reason that they were having a party and the building was cleared out, that is like the one mechanical advantage you have of Christmas. Actually, two mechanical advantages of Christmas. First mechanical advantage of it being Christmas from a writing perspective is it makes sense why the building is completely cleared out that day, because only that one company is still having a party.
Yeah.
The second mechanical advantage of Christmas is it's an excuse to have Bruce Willis show up to see his estranged wife.
Right. Yeah. And I would argue that, like, so the other thing too, the party was kind of a double party. There's a line of dialogue in there where they talk about how, like, oh, they just closed this big deal. Mm-hmm. And so, you could have them having a party to celebrate them closing out this deal. And,
right.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be entirely unrealistic for a huge company like that to own the whole tower.
Right. Yeah. And if you're looking for like a reason for like Bruce Willis to show up, I mean, you could have like, maybe like, oh, I finally got time off from, from his job, and, he's got a couple of days. And so why don't I fly out to California to see my wife and kids?
Right. Or for that matter, his wife is finally threatening to move forward with the divorce, or with a divorce, since they've been living apart for so long. Yeah. And so he's shown up to try and deal with things.
Yeah.
It occurs to me, though, anyways, that's why we say that this is not a Christmas movie. Now, if your definition of a Christmas movie is that Christmas themes can be as vague as having family connections and taking place at Christmas, I can't stop you from having that definition. Just not the one that we're operating off of after we've had some discussions about it before.
Yeah. And I'm well aware too that we're kind of in a minority opinion on this. That because I think I heard somewhere that there was a poll. It was like 73% of people think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So
the schools have failed us.
Yes. But yeah, you could come up with different ways to make the plot work and not have it be set at Christmas. Which of course, the plot of the movie is that Bruce Willis plays John McClane. He's a New York City detective, and he goes to L.A. Because that's where his wife and kids live, because they moved out there. She got this big job with this Japanese company. And of course, he couldn't move out there with him because, he's still got a bunch of open cases that he's got to close before he can do anything, which has caused tension in the marriage. And there's because there's a little scene in there before all the action goes down where they have an argument because she's using her maiden name instead of the married name. An interesting little bit of trivia. So the first writer on the movie, his name was Jeb Stewart, and he came up with the idea for this because
did he have the idea in between campaigns during the Civil War? Now imagine an enormous building that scrapes the sky, and there's a bunch of Japanese who own it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
That's all right. And it just says he's in the camp that he thinks it's a Christmas movie, but mostly for the laughs. Real Christmas films are about Jesus' birth, and it's okay. I respect that. But yeah, so he came up with the idea because he was trying to adapt. So the movie's actually based on a novel. A lot of people probably don't know this. It was based on a novel called Nothing Lasts Forever. It was actually a sequel to another book called The Detective that they made into a movie with Frank Sinatra. And when they were getting ready to make this into Nothing Lasts Forever into a movie, they asked the writer, okay, well, he to adapt it into a movie. He couldn't figure it out, and then one night he gets into an argument with his wife. And he storms out of the house and gets in his car and drives off. And then as soon as he hits the freeway, he realizes he was right. He's wrong. His wife was right, and he has to find a way to apologize to her. And as he's driving down the freeway, he sees a refrigerator box that's in the middle of the lane, and he doesn't have time to swerve around it or stop. So he's thinking, okay, I'm gonna die. I'm about to die hitting this refrigerator box going, 65 miles an hour. But thankfully the box was empty. And yeah, so he, but then that's where he got the idea to figure it out, because for how he could figure out the problem that he was having is that he changed it from, the main character being a 60-something guy trying to reconcile with his 40-something daughter. Instead, it's a 30-something guy trying to apologize to his wife because bad stuff happens. And so that whole scene was in there was because, they have a fight, and then then Hans Gruber and his gang show up and take hostages and everything. And of course he's got to try to figure out how to how to save the day. And that's basically the plot of Die Hard, and you have a lot of explosions and a lot of gunfights, and great one-liners, and great bad guy in Hans Gruber, played by the late Alan Rickman, in his first movie.
Oh, was it his first?
Okay. It was his first movie, yeah.
Yeah, and he is so great in this one. there's a reason that this movie has been actually, I'd say basically I have no notes for this movie in terms of things I would actually try to improve. Because
Yeah.
it's basically perfect for what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
Like villain's great because he. By the way, we are going to assume that the fact that we started off with a debate about the Christmasosity of this movie, rather than necessarily going into the plot too much, kind of implies that we are assuming you have seen this movie.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not worried about spoiling a almost 40-year-old movie.
A 40-year-old movie that everybody basically already knows about.
Yeah.
Anyways, Hans Gruber is a perfect villain. So apparently, originally he was going to be a terrorist until someone said that's a little too heavy, so they turned him into a bank robber. But he still kind of pretends that he has political reasons for what he's doing, just to throw people off.
Yeah.
So he's just like a complete scumbag. He's very quick. He's very quick to pivot. He's a coward, but he just has this dignity to him that he doesn't really deserve.
Yeah. 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 Snape's first film ends with his first death. Yeah. Yeah, and actually the funny thing about that death scene when they drop him off, when he gets dropped off the building, Alan Rickman actually did that scene. They didn't use a stunt double, and the way they did it was they harnessed him up, and then they had him on the side of the building, and the stunt people were like, "Okay, Alan, we're gonna let you go on 3," and then he goes to the other one of the guys and let him go on 1. So they dropped him on 1, and that look of terror on his face was real because he didn't know they were going to do that.
The Hitchcock method of getting good scared performances out of your actors.
Yeah, and Rickman actually in an appearance somewhere, he was retelling the story, and he said, of course they were worried that maybe he would have gotten hurt on that stunt, but he said they were very careful to make it his last shot on the film.
Pretty sneaky.
Yeah. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot. There are a couple of goofs that were that have kind of become legendary with the movie. Like the main one was at the end of the movie when the ambulance comes out of the back of the truck that the robbers first show up in. The ambulance comes out, but then when they show the robbers coming out of the truck, there's no ambulance in the back, and that's because they started filming the movie without a finished script. So they hadn't figured out how they were going to get away. and so they were talking about like, oh God, well, how are we going to fix this? And John McTiernan, the director, is like, I don't care. It was basically as Critical Drinker would say, nah, it'll be fine.
Don't know.
And the other, of course, the other aspect too of the movie was that McClane's barefoot, because when he's flying into LA, the guy sitting next to him on the plane tells him, hey, when you get home or wherever you get into, take your shoes off and then make fists with your toes on the carpet.
Right. It'll help you relax.
Right.
And of course, he shows up and his wife's angry at him. So he's of course stressed out. So he takes off his shoes just as the attack is happening.
Right. Yeah. So he's running around barefoot, and in the scene on the roof when he's ducking from the fire, you can actually see the little, like, in one of the shots, you can see the little bootsies that Bruce Willis was wearing when he was running around on the roof. But other than that, I mean, I can't. Those are just, I think, minor. Those are minor nitpicks. But
Yep. Like just little gaffes of production.
Yeah.
Now, turning to our actual star here.
Yeah.
So you were telling me before the show that initially everybody like booed when they saw that it was Bruce Willis in this movie because like they're kind of too used to him being in was it Moonlighters?
Yeah, Moonlighting. Yeah. He was Yeah, Moonlighting was a, for those of you who don't know, it was like a comedy drama show that was on in the 80s with him and Sybil Shepherd. And yeah, he was like the real sarcastic smartass. And yeah, and so like people associated him with Moonlighting, and not as a serious action hero like Schwarzenegger or Stallone or Norris or anybody like that. And yeah, so they played the trailer for the movie, and yeah, they laughed and then they booed, and so like a month before the movie came out, the studio panicked and they took Bruce Willis off of all of the posters and the marketing, and they just had the building for the poster.
Yeah, which is kind of hilarious considering that Bruce Willis became one of the most bankable action stars in Hollywood after this came out. But
oh yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like how every time somebody is announced as Batman,
yeah,
the world freaks out and is convinced they're going to be awful at it. Or at least for the Batman movies I've seen and recall strongly, the only really bad Batman we've had is George Clooney.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben Affleck was okay.
Ben Affleck didn't really get to do much. Or
Yeah.
I should say, he didn't really get to play Batman. But then again, Henry Cavill didn't really get to play Superman. But that's neither here nor there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Willis is great. Yeah, I watched a Jester Bell video recently where she was talking about how it's like people have this idea of what an 80s action movie is. And they just assume that manly characters like from the period were just toxic and never showed emotion. And it's like, as she was pointing out, this movie is a great example of like you don't actually watch these movies.
Yeah,
you're arguing with your phantom shadow boxing opinion of what those movies are like.
Right. Yeah.
Because dude shows the whole range. He's a smartass, but not in the Marvel humor sense where it completely deflates the action of the scene. It's just like it's clear that it's how he's coping with the stress.
Yeah.
Instead of playing for the audience. It's like he's always like when he's scared, he's talking to himself in the same way.
Yeah.
There are dramatic scenes where at one point where Gruber is executing somebody like, for God's sake, tell him you don't know me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Old Ellis.
Yep. The yuppie who's trying to negotiate his way out.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the scene kind of near just before the third act when this is right after he meets Gruber and they shoot all the broken glass everywhere and he's picking the glass out of his foot and he's on the radio talking to Al Powell, who we haven't mentioned him.
No.
He's this LA beat cop who Willis manages to like get his attention to let him know that, hey, there's something bad going on in here. And so he talks to him on the radio and he's got this moment where he's talking to him and he says, oh, hey, tell my wife, I'm really sorry. And, she's the best thing that ever happened to a bum like me and, and all that stuff. And,
right. And he's just convinced that it's the end. So,
yeah.
Also, character Sergeant Al Powell, played by Reginald DeVell Johnson, who was also the dad on what was the Urkel show called again? It's been 20 years since I even thought of it.
Family Matters.
Family Matters. That's it.
Yeah.
When I first watched this movie, my buddy and I had this theory that it was the same character. He had just been relocated after that shooting incident.
Yeah.
And we further decided that the kid he had shot was actually Urkel.
Ooh. Yeah, I can see that.
No, he's great in this.
Yeah.
It's just such a smart movie too. Like I miss dialogue that doesn't just blatantly state the obvious.
Yeah.
Like efficient dialogue is what I miss. Like
Yeah.
just one line that occurred to me early on was that made me just go, "Oh, this movie is being efficient with its dialogue and setups." One of the women who is a hostage is pregnant, and but they don't like. I feel like a modern Netflix style writing would have extended because, of course, they're trying to fill time. Would have extended this exchange, and she would be like, "Oh, oh, I'm going to go get me some wine, but you can't have wine. Aren't you pregnant?" Yeah,
Yeah.
well, the baby know, or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, where it's like this dialogue was just like, I'm sure the little one could take one glass of wine.
Yeah. Yeah. Then Holly says, "Well, no, that baby's ready to tend bar."
Right. So you actually get like clever dialogue that works on multiple levels and sounds real. And it makes me annoyed with some movies and TV shows we've reviewed this year.
Yeah. Yeah. They treat the audience like they're stupid.
Or more accurately, they treat the audience like they're looking at a second screen while they're watching.
Mm.
Which I guess amounts to being stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Low attention span. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm. But yeah, I mean, this movie is considered one of, if not the greatest action movie ever made, and that's for a reason. And it redefined the genre too. I mean, it changed the prototypical action star. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't the Schwarzenegger Stallone guy anymore. It was actually like an everyman, and that's McClane. He's the everyman, before they turned him into like a superhero in the sequels. But but he was I would say probably more blue collar than other action stars. And of course, every movie had to copy the formula of this one.
Yeah, it's the problem when you have a good formula. Everybody wants in on that action.
Yeah, you had you have like Under Siege, which was the Steven Seagal that was Die Hard on a boat. You had Speed, Die Hard on a bus. You had two Die Hards on a plane with Wesley Snipes in Passenger 57 and Air Force One with Harrison Ford.
And then another one in Con Air, right?
Yeah, Con Air. Yeah.
Heck, even my own Magpie Wizard series, the fourth book's action scene could be interpreted as Die Hard at a Hogwarts.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Fun little thing for those of you who have read my stuff. Originally, before I decided to make Maggie the primary villain, the first draft did have a Magneto-ish character named Nakatomi because, of course, Nakatomi Plaza. But I ended up deciding to write him out for efficiency's sake.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he'll show up again in a later book.
Maybe, although kind of the Holy Brotherhood of Mankind has been nipped in the bud for the most part.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So I might just use the name elsewhere, but it wouldn't have quite the same humor to it.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Another one. That My Hero Academia movie.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, My Hero Academia, Die Hard at a secret superhero research center.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah. This movie's on Hulu. I think it's on Amazon Prime as well.
I don't know if it's on Prime, but you can rent it on Prime for, or just buy it. I think it was like $5, and now I have a digital copy I can access anytime I feel like it. So
yeah,
I definitely got my money's worth off of that one.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.